particle flow that manifests as X-rays are used by man to examine the human body, as well as numerous applications in industry. They move slowly and are easily stopped, and thus lodge in bone rather than pass through, painting a picture of bone by this absence. X-rays are observed by man occurring in bursts in the universe, bursting from suns and from the sun in their solar system in, at times, distinctive patterns. What is causing this natural outburst? Humans find they can excite X-rays by the same process they excite electrons, and at times find them in association with lightning. Heat and light particles are also so excited, as well as magnetic particles, but these particles can be found in nature without the presence of electron flows too. There is cold light and heat without light, magnets without an electric charge, and electricity without magnetism or heat or light. They are independent particles, though they may be affected by the same processes. If X-rays can be stopped readily by bone, yet pass through soft tissue, then their bond with atoms is readily available and common. This is not the case with the particles that compose what man understands to be electrons, which leave readily and go on the move, such that children can excite them by scuffing their feet across a rug. Where heat particles can be excited by mechanical means, rubbing light seems to man to require a chemical change such as occurs in fireflies or fire. That all these particles are excited by the same process that gets electrons on the move should not be surprising, as electron-particle flows are an onslaught. Electron flows affect the chemistry of the material. Electrons flow through, at least temporarily, by changing the electron sharing that is a component of atom bonding. Thus, light particles are produced in association with electrons. Electron flows affect the density of the material electrons flow through. By this means also, at least temporarily, so that atoms can approach each other more closely. This crowding of the affected material forces heat particles to move until they find a less crowded home. Magnetic particles flow through atoms, happily flowing in and out of a single atom unless forced to move from atom to atom by an irregular electron shell around the atom that funnels them. Thus, iron ore in nature may or may not be a magnet, depending on the fluidity of the iron atoms. Electron flows create this irregularity, at least temporarily, thus the phenomenon of electromagnetism. So, can man assume, as some have, that the sun reverses its magnetic field periodically, because during solar cycles the X-rays emitted by the sun are emerging from a different spot on the surface? As X-rays are so readily stopped, the pictures of bone and even the placement of soft tissue can be made. Why would they not be stopped by the placement of matter within the swirling core of the sun? X-rays are generated homogeneously within the sun, as is heat and light, but the particle flow is affected during its passage outward by the matter it encounters. Is this not the case with light, which can be readily bent during its passage through water, or blocked entirely by walls? Is this not the case with heat, which likewise can be blocked or absorbed by material or transmitted and passed along. This is certainly the case with X-rays, which announce themselves to mankind by their very ability to be readily stopped by almost any material put in their way. Magnetism particles are not so readily stopped, however, and thus the phenomena of magnetic fields surrounding planets and their suns, reaching far beyond this to encompass the solar system and more. Man finds he can create confusion in a magnetic field, at least temporarily, by deflecting the flow of magnetic particles with other magnetic particles. Take the confusion away, and the magnetic field has re-established itself. Magnetic particles are on the move constantly, where other particles are not so fluid or mobile. Thus, the sun's magnetic field is independent of any other particle flow and persists in a constant state regardless of how other particles may be blocked or directed within the sun.